finish this install. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up because I think it's ready. Yep, there we go. Ooh, that's loud in me ears. Let's go ahead and capture the screen here. There we go. I'm gonna turn down my headphones here. Woo! That was something, guys. That was loud. There we go. Alright, so it suggests to complete this in a single sitting. An hour and a half. Okay. Let's get this. Turn up the sound, turn off the lights. Well, I can't really turn off the daylight, so we're gonna go like this. It's already loud enough in my ears as it is. Ooh. Ooh, that's loud. Okay. All I remembered at that point was finding myself alone. Oh. Oh my head. Where was I? It was so dark. There was something by my feet. A flashlight. Oh, okay. I got that Resident Evil door opening stuff. That house. Where was I? Do I have to... Oh, okay. I can press down. What in the world is that? There was a body lying on the floor. Who was it? I didn't recognize his face. He was still kind of warm. Okay. Oh, there's a cat? Maybe? Ah, shit. Why did that scare me? I knew it was a cat. Okay, so there's a door right there. Oh, hey. The leaky roof. Oh, that goes downstairs. I noticed that I limped as I moved down the stairs. How did I hurt my leg, I wondered. All I could really recall was coming home, seeing Rachel. I was upset. She looked afraid. I shook my head, tried to clear of it. Tried to clear it. I knew I should head downstairs, try to find a way out. You don't know how to get out of your own house. The shelf was full of books on local history and hunting. Seemed like the owner of this house really knew the area. You're not the owner of this house? What are you doing in this house, dude? Breaking and entering is illegal. A black and white photo looked like the man upstairs and his wife. I guess there was no reason for me to keep this. Did I take it? Yes. Slip the photo in my pocket. Maybe this would help me find some answers. An old dining table covered in dirty dishes for 2 people. There were dozens of beer cans and other liquor bottles among the dishes. The smell was turning in my stomach. Okay. So... A thin gray mouse was stuck in a trap. It looked frantic, but exhausted. Did I free it? Yes. Save the animals. Oh, computer. The desk had a computer and some papers on it. A single drawer. I didn't want to snoop, but did I open the drawer? Yes. Receipts, pens, and a blurry photo look like a store of some kind. Why did this look so familiar? Because it's your house? Blood on the wall. It smelled fresh and sickening. I realized there was blood on my shoes and pants. Oh man, I had to get out of there. Okay, so this game is apparently in past tense. It isn't just some weird typos here and there. It's literally telling a story. Okay, so we go downstairs. Let's go to this door. Collection of rusty tools. These look like they'd seen a lot of use and were caked in damp smelling dirt. Why weren't they in a shed? A photo similar to the old one I picked up. It had been moved a lot. There seemed to be a switch behind it. Did I push the switch? I depressed smoothly into the wall. I heard a faraway click somewhere. There were scribbles of all kinds and random scrap paper and notes about some kind of water tower. Did he mean the one by the old train yard? Well, if you don't know whose house you're in, how do you know there's a train yard nearby that you're familiar with? How long had this been here, rotting? The old man upstairs didn't look like he'd been dead for a long time. I guess the food is rotting? So if there's a click, I'm just double checking places I've been to. But, I really shouldn't have gone through this, getting my fingerprints everywhere. Yet, here you are. There's like scratches on the wall, isn't there? What was that noise? Alright, well, I guess we're going downstairs again. And I'm just gonna check this room over here. Oh yeah, I already checked it. Never mind. And now we go downstairs. Again. The door was taped up and seemed to be stuck. By the smell, I guess it led to the kitchen. Why would the dining room be upstairs and the kitchen downstairs? Switch on the wall appeared to have unlocked the door. The box appeared heavy, but there were marks on the floor. Obviously been moved before. Maybe I had found a way out. Must have moved it, right? Yes. Moved the box forward and it finally gave. I'm gonna check the rest of this floor though. There were sheets of paper all over the kitchen table. It looked like a series of names were written down, but they were too smudged to read. I could only make out a few of the notes. Key card. Locker. Last one. I promise. Didn't make much sense at the time. Hey, mouse. Be kind and see the results is the achievement that I unlocked. Basically, I saved the mouse, so I guess the mouse let me in. I don't know. I looked like hell. My clothes were dirty and torn, and there was mud caked all over my shoes. The bathroom was spotless. Everything had been wiped to a sheen. I wondered if it was the man's wife who did the cleaning or him. There was a photo development tray lying on the floor. Some leftover negatives were sticking out, but they were pretty blurry. Thought I saw what looked like treetops. Seemed odd that the tray had been left here, considering how clean the rest of the bathroom was. Why don't you take the photo negatives? Front door was blocked by a pile of furniture, and I had to find another way out. There was a ladder going underground where the box was. A dank smell rose from the passage. Did I climb down the ladder? Yes. Looked again at the photo I found in the house. The couple looked distant, like they didn't want to be in the same picture. I wonder where the wife was. My leg was in terrible shape, but I had to get out. Footprints in the dirt. Look more than one kind, and a lot of traffic. Places all over are marked in the old map of town. Industrial area near the river, various houses, and even the water tower near the old rail station. Newspaper clippings from the local paper. They were all about murders in town over the last few years. Wait. There were photos. Photos of our house. What the hell was that about? Maybe I should have looked around more, tried to find some kind of information. Those boxes would have allowed me to climb up the ladder again, but I didn't want to go back up there. Not with that body, all that blood. A work table covered in papers, dirt, and a handgun. I hate guns. I didn't take it, did I? Yes, you did. Tucked the small handgun in my pocket. So weight was somehow reassuring. It was so dark down there, and the air smelled stale and putrid. Couldn't believe what I saw. What was this place? The desk looked old and was caked with grime. On it was a stack of old faded paper covered with what looked like names. They were scratched out and ineligible notes were written beside them in faded blue ink. I could only make out a few letters. Heather? Something? None of it made any sense to me. There looked to be bones half dug into the ground, and the remains looked old. The faded clothes that stuck up amongst the dirt looked familiar. It looked like the clothes that woman was wearing in the photo I found. Was this the man's wife? I don't know, is it? Some kind of homemade rack slung together with poorly cut wooden rope. It was caked with old blood. Somebody didn't actually use that, did they? Crudely made shelves. They looked like they were holding cans of some kind of corrosive. The labels were worn and slick, but I could see the warnings. Looked like a cage. It was small, but there was something coating the bottom. Something wet. Kind of old boxes. They looked like they were years old. Wait a minute. These boxes had old clothes in them. Clothes I remembered throwing out after Rachel and I moved out of town. What the hell were they doing here? Okay, so we had bats in the tunnel here. I remember noticing the broken ladder. I had to be careful. What? There was a rope hanging there. I wasn't sure how sturdy it was. Did I take it? Yes. Maybe the rope would make that broken ladder easier to descend. Okay, so I heard whispering. I don't... Rope I found would have let me climb down the broken ladder safely. Did I climb down? Yes, you did. I could hear a faint hum, and the smell from before started to get worse. Oh, really? A bunch of old newspapers, wheat pasted together. What? A message had been hastily smeared on it. Keep out. Danger due to cave-in. I could still feel a faint impression of the rope I had slid down as I pressed against the heavy metal door. It was probably for the best that I hadn't jumped. The ache in my leg was bad enough as it was. If I could have, though, I would have run straight out of those awful tunnels. Who would keep such a place? At least I thought I had found an old handgun. It seemed to work, and from the smell of it, it had been used already. I kept the gun in my pocket. It seemed a familiar weight there. An exposed ventilation shaft. Maybe someone crawled through there. But it was so high up, that must have been a sore landing. There's dripping coming from that. There was dirt on the ground. It looked wet, and there was grass smeared within it. Let's check what's here first. I hear a faint trickling sound like water. What was that? Exit. No. Kitchen knife covered in drying blood. Thinking about it made me sick. I didn't even want to touch it. Did I take the knife? No. Still had the old handgun. I wasn't sure what good a knife would have been. If it had blood on it, and it was a kitchen knife, if it was from that... What the hell was that? Wasn't sure what those valves were for. Did I turn it anyway? Nope. Don't mess with things you don't understand. Okay, so 4, 3, 2, 1. Door's locked. There was a musty smell from inside. Wasn't sure, but I thought it was some kind of regulator. I had no idea how it worked. Okay, so there's 1, and 2, 3, and 4 out there. I have no idea what they're for, but we'll exit. There was a rusty ladder sunk in the water, which smelled disgusting. I knew I couldn't climb down that. Maybe I could find a way to drain the putrid water. Okay. What the fuck is that? Disgusting. It was a mess of filthy garbage bags. There were rips and tears in most of the bags. It looked like an old videotape was sticking out. Did I take the tape? Yes. I don't know what to hope to discover from it either. Okay, so that didn't do nothing by itself. The hell was that? Alright, let's see what I did. Door's still locked. Looked like the water drained out of that grate in the wall. There's a small metal key left floating in the shallow pool of rinsed water. Yes! And we're gonna go back. And we're gonna use this key, hopefully. Okay, I guess not. The safety poster had definitely seen better days. How old was that facility? The door's locked. I can see a faint light within. There's a security camera in the room. There must have been a way to see what happened. Maybe this VHS tape I found could be useful. Found another dead body, a sewer worker. He was a mess, but he looked like he'd been stabbed. I could see a key ring that had fallen out of his pocket. Did I take it? Yes. Worked up the nerve to snatch the key ring away and put it in my own pocket. Shelf full of security tapes was strictly organized, though covered in dust. It looked like the tape I found was the one that was missing from the shelf. There's a dusty VCR on the security desk. I wonder what was on the VHS tape I found. Did I play the tape? Yep. Oh no, the video showed a man right there in the sewers being attacked. Tape looked fuzzy and stretched like somebody had tampered with it. Looked like there could have been 2 men. I am curious if I can go back to that one now that I've got that key ring. Collection of stale liquor bottles covered the floor. The wall was littered with dozens of old faded papers. However, whoever did this was obsessed with some local murders. According to some of the clippings, bodies had been found in the ravines in the forest, and in one case dumped in the back of an abandoned truck. Couldn't be sure, but I thought one of these articles had been pasted up back in those tunnels. A faded receipt was half trampled on the floor. From the local train station was for 2 tickets. I didn't know what use it could be, but did I keep the receipt? Yes. Neatly folded the soiled receipt and slipped into my front pocket. Like, you never know, man. Those receipts could get you out of town. The room didn't seem much of a place for drinking. What was the point? Okay. Oh, shit! Oh! 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 I don't know what that was. Not sticking around long enough to find out, though. Another drippy... Cursed the weight of the gun as I hobbled up the ladder. Would I really need it, or was there some other reason for wanting to carry it around? The thought of that videotape still haunted me. Who was it that didn't want to be seen? Was it the same person that hid all those newspaper clippings away in that locked room? Go no further up the ladder, and thumbing the latch above me, finally found my escape. The stench of that sewer finally abated, and I could smell old damp pine trees. There were eyes right there. There are eyes again right there. There's eyes right there too. Old ladder is leading up to an ancient water tower. The ladder needed to be extended so I could climb it. Did I extend the ladder? Yes. Popped the latch and brought the ladder down. Patch of smeared dirt and grass. There was a beat-up old wallet. I thought it was mine. Did I take it? Yes. The wallet was missing its contents, including any cards or ID. It was worn, but light. It made carrying the gun around seem more awkward. Where were my driver's license and credit card? On the railing I could see over the woods and down to the entrance to the sewers. Had I come through here before? If I did, someone definitely could have seen me. Tried the little key I had fished out of the murky puddle in the sewers. It fit, and it heavily opened the rusted door. Oh dear. The wind was picking up a bit, and the night air had becoming strangely chilly. That weird. Is this the train station? The old train station was quiet as a tomb. The only sound was that of the increasing wind buffeting the decrepit structure. An old ticket booth had looked fairly ruined. Inside the ticket window were sheets of paper and... Wait, what were these train receipts? I thought the receipt I had picked up might match these, but of course not. This station had been closed for years. This game's got me looking around behind me to make sure my cat's not in the room. The ticket must have been for the newer station that opened up on the other side of town after this one was abandoned. However, I noticed a series of fresher looking paper covered in tiny notes, scribbles, and diagrams. Escape route. It looked like someone had been leafing through the old ledgers looking for something. A name, perhaps. An old map, encased in glass, hung to the wall. It was the train routes connected to that old station. As I looked at it, it seemed familiar. Of course, the map I found in those tunnels had similar locations marked, and the notes I found on the other man's bookshelf, his notes mentioned the water tower and even this train yard. What was he doing coming back here? I don't know. What are you doing coming back here? What's this? The old train was ripped open and hanging from a shred of metal. Shred of metal, as well as the broken fence, was a dark stained patch of cloth. Looked synthetic, like something out of some kind of outerwear. Inside the train's shell, I could see a few faint impacts, like wounds. Could they have been bullet marks? Was somebody shot there? The ground was well worn, though. Couldn't really make anything out. Realized I was touching the gun I had found as I thought. I don't know, bro. I think you killed someone. I think you're the murderer. That's my theory. We're gonna play this out and see if my theory stands. What's this? This must have been the entrance to the forest that was mentioned in that map I had seen. Whoever was poking around in those tunnels underneath that man's house had scribbled notes on this place, but I couldn't make them out. Here, the sign pointed out various campsites and walking paths within the woods. It mentioned a river and maybe a washroom, but the rest was too faded to see clearly. What's this? Trampled in the dirt grass was a plastic card of some kind. Brushed it off and was surprised to see it was my credit card. Wasn't sure if it was still usable, but it was mine. Did I take back my credit card? Yes, you did. You don't leave that out. Hopefully I could find my driver's license too. Let's hope so. Through the fence I could see a dilapidated outbuilding. I wonder if I could find my way around. Can't go that way. I'm gonna come back out here though. Can't go there. Okay. The worn picnic table stood within a circle of trees like an altar. It was covered in faint markings and carvings from who I assumed were previous campers and hikers. The path ended in a cold-looking river. I wasn't sure if it was safe to cross like this. No. You never risk hypothermia. Just saying. Even though it's a horror game and they don't always make sense, let's make sense of this. I think this was... I completely lost track of what I was doing just now. Okay, there we go. There's another hole. There was a fire pit here. It was still a bit warm and a few embers still burned at the bottom. Two folding camping... Wow, that doesn't really roll off my tongue very well. Two folding camping chairs were on the ground. One was knocked over. There were a couple of cans of beer spilled on the ground, whatever. The cheap dome tents slept two people. I shone my flashlight inside and could see some bedrolls, two backpacks, and a cooler. Okay, so there weren't two people sleeping in there, it's just you could have two people in there. Okay, now I'm going to get lost. There were some personal effects shoved back into the rock. Wait, there was a notebook there too. Did I read it? Yes. Inside the cheap dollar store notebook. Why has it got to be a dollar store, man? Inside the cheap dollar store notebook was a page after worn page of names and lists. None of it made sense. The newest page contained several names. Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Rachel, Iris, Daphne, Holly, Rose, Rachel. Rachel, her name was last on the list and had a mark beside it in blue ink. Names Daphne and Olivia had been crossed out in the same blue ink. Cheryl, Heather, and Rose had been crossed out, but those marks looked older and more faded. Aren't each of these, Cheryl, Heather, and Rose, aren't those names of characters from Silent Hill? Pretty sure Rose is. I can't be 100% certain on that, but... Oh, what's this? No, 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 no. Don't... Something. No, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. The grimy sink had a small patch in it that looked almost clean. There was a damp-smelling plank leaning against the stall door. Might have been able to cross the river with it. Yes. Managed to carry the plank under my arm so I didn't get in the way. Oh, thank God. Thought you were going to put it in your pocket for a second. The sign was the same as the first one I had seen. This must have been the exit to the other side of the woods. What? Okay, at least it's warning me. I don't want to leave yet. I want to find that river. There we go. Yes. Two bodies, two young women, were half dug into a hasty, shallow grave between the trees. The younger-looking one was still face up, her dead eyes gleaming against my flashlight. They deserved better than that. Did I clean up the gravesite? No. Yeah, the police could sort it out. Yes. Put it this way, I ain't doing nothing with the bodies. If my character is the murderer, then great, he'll get caught. I ain't messing with that. Not my problem. Trying to remember which way I needed to go. Ah, here we go. Got it. The forest started to thin out a bit, and through the trees I could make out parts of the town beyond and the first hints of light. The mysteries of that forest were behind me. I could still feel them on my neck like a warm breath. Those girls I'd found, someone had taken them from their campsites and had murdered them. Was it the same person who had left that odd notebook? I was even more eager to get somewhere safe and to find a way to reach Rachel. If she's alive, bro. As I stepped through the gate, I suddenly recognized the auto parts factory where I had worked as a machinist for those years. The plant had closed almost 3 years ago now. Times were better then. I thought I could hear a faint rustling behind me. Maybe it was just the wind. No, bro, that ain't the wind. Oh, I found the body of a security guard, just doing his job, no doubt. His face was covered with blood from some kind of head wound. I wondered, was this flashlight his? Dude! Come on now. Dug into the ground was a cracked old watch. First my wallet and now this. Did I retrieve my watch? Yeah? The watch was useless, but I put it in my wrist anyway. I wish I could remember. Why was all my stuff missing? Because you killed these people, fool. I can guarantee it. One of these lockers hung open. Its contents were tossed around like someone had been looking for something. Another door. There's a large power box with 5 lights on it. Cables burst out of the box, snaking off the other parts of the factory. The metal was starting to wear, and cobwebs had collected in the corners. The box wasn't receiving power. The door was locked tight. It seemed to be connected to the power box beside it. Okay, so the door is locked shut, and there was a little electronic box under the handle. A sign was pasted to the front that said, "Danger, closed for repairs." So the only way is up. Every part of this plant smelled old and rotted. I noticed that old bulletin board on the wall. The board contained yellow clippings of newspaper, cartoons, and notices. There were notes to and from the guys that worked here. One of them was to Norman, who was one of the older guys on the line. Our old break table, the layer of dust and grime, only made seeing this sting more. Okay. There's another stairs up, and there's a doorway here. A power panel. Looked like it was shut off. Did I push a switch? Yes. because you press things without knowing what you're doing. The open locker was stuffed with dirty work clothes and old boots. There was a photo of a woman taped to the inside, but it was scratched out, and the face was unrecognizable. The power panel looked like it was shut off. Did I push the switch? Yes! It was shut tight. There was a rusty-looking card slot on the side. That's talking about the key card now. There we go. Working. Go up again. This was Norman's locker. The door was dented like someone had punched it. I don't remember him doing that when we worked here. A utility shelf crammed with mismatched tools and items. There was a claw hammer on the shelf. Did I take the hammer? No. This whole place reeked of disuse and disrepair. What was I going to do with a hammer here? Oh, I don't know. Bash a security guard in the head with it. Yes. The locker was a complete mess. Hidden at the bottom, though, was a magnetic card. Did I take the card? Yes, you did. Put the key card in my pocket. Another panel that I hoped could help me get power back on. Did I push the button? Yes. Did I press the button? Yes. Another panel that I hope could help me get the power back on. There we go. The door had been hastily boarded up. It wants me to get the hammer. I noticed it wasn't as rusty as the rest of the tools on the shelf. I wonder why. I struck with the hammer. The old wooden boards came apart easily. After I had removed the planks, I left the hammer on the floor. Good. This was my locker there in the factory. It stank of booze. There was a picture of Rachel on the inside. It looked like it had been torn up. I thought I had taken that picture home when the factory closed. There was a mess of empty booze bottles. I wonder if that man in the house had something to do with this. He sure had a lot of alcohol in this at his place. Alright, so I'm going to stop here for just a second and explain what I think he did. I think Norman is the guy that was at the house you wake up in. The woman in the picture is Rachel. And you had a drunken episode and messed his locker up, killed Norman, killed Rachel, and a bunch of people on the way in a drunken rage. And you had a list of people who did you wrong and you killed them all. That's my theory. That's what I'm going with. The key card I found seemed like it would pass through this reader. Did I use the key card? Yes. I slid the card through the old reader and turned the handle. Good lord, that beep was loud. There's some kind of ventilation hatch here. It looked like I could jump into the room below. My leg hurt enough as it was, but I couldn't see another option. Did I jump? No, not right now. I was too chicken to jump down that broken ladder before. Why do it now? There'd be another way. Yeah, probably. Oh. No. Oh. No. I'm gonna do one more look around this room to see if I can find something to use. I guess not. Okay, well. There was a crumpled up letter on the floor. It had been scratched out heavily and was hard to make out. Did I try to read the letter? Yes. Most of the letter was violently scratched out with what looked to be a ballpoint pen. All I could make out was need to. Just don't. Drinking. Need. Norman. Who's Norman writing to? Stepped out of the factory, glad to be rid of this smell of its memories. I couldn't stop thinking about that room with the bottles in it. Was that guard I found outside really drinking up there? What about Norman? And who had rooted through all those lockers? I couldn't tell where I was as I looked around, but I figured I needed to get to a road, get my bearings. Maybe Norman could help. His store wasn't that far from the turn-off to the factory, if I remembered correctly. Who's following me? I see you. Looking at me like that. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food and slick black bags. Saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Did I take it back? Yes, you did. I cleaned the card off as best I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card and now this. Tucked the card in my wallet next to my credit card. Sounded like it was going to start raining again. I had entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet, except for the faint sound of a television. The entrance to the front of the store is locked from the inside. Look, I couldn't just pop it open. I needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the keyhole. I'm gonna go this way first. What the hell? One of Rachel's old autumn coats hung in a rack. That was Norman's bedroom, wasn't it? What was this doing here? By the cabinet was a small but impressive collection of hunting rifles, shotguns, and even a few items I didn't think were legal here. One of the slots in the rack was empty. The gun I had found seemed to match the others there. The handgun was Norman's. What the hell was he doing with it? The gun would fit there. Did I place it back on the rack? Yeah. Carefully pushed the piece back in place and felt a great burden lifted. The TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. Oh no. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my coworker and one of the few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he'd been shot trying to get up. His eyes were wide with shock, though they were already drying. Norman, what was Rachel doing here? Why did you have her coat? Norman, maybe you deserved better. You probably did. Did I close his eyes? No. Sorry, Norman, but at that moment I was too confused to worry about you. I need to find Rachel some answers. Maybe I will close his eyes. Or, not really. I guess this was Norman's kitchen table. He kept it clean, though, but there were water rings from 2 cups still there on the wood. The kitchen trash bin smelled fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? Yeah. Found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. That'll come in handy for picking a lock. Couldn't make out what was on the screen, but that glow just gave me chills. Used the hairpin to pick the lock. See, told you. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. The general store was small, but it was clean. It had the usual things: postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned goods. Never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work if we needed anything. She cheating on you, buddy. The register is mostly empty, and a fat stack of travel magazines sat beside it. The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for a while. Most of its contents were half melted. There were various postcards from the area, especially from the tourist traps. One of the postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. Looked to be in much better shape then. Norman was dead, but I had no idea why. Was he involved in all this somehow, or was he just another victim? The gun I found only seemed to complicate matters. It was such a relief to finally be rid of it. Home wasn't far off now, even though the rain was relentless. I had to keep going. It was locked. This wasn't the right gate. The gate was locked tight. That wasn't my house. That's the right house. Though I'm gonna go back out. The door only lead me back. I had to find my house. What? Gate was locked tight. This wasn't my house. Neighbor's local post box. The letter was sticking out as if someone hadn't pushed it all the way in. Knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? Yeah. There was no return address, but the envelope was addressed to Norman. Carefully, I tore it open and looked at the letter inside it. It read, "Stay away. She's mine." That was it. No signature. No other information. Yeah. I had the wrong gate. This one was locked. I had entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding, and it chilled me through my clothes. I was expectant, but also afraid. I held my breath as I approached our back door. I was terrified to step inside. The house was painfully quiet. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door. The power was off. You gotta pay your bills, bro. I remembered having breakfast here on this very table. Was that yesterday or sometime before? Door to the basement was locked. Where had I put the damn key? There's a small pile of mail on the floor in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Most of the contents were bills. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? Yes. Ripped the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about canceling my credit card due to non-payment. What the hell? Front door was locked from inside. I couldn't go out, though. I needed to see if Rachel was here. I had found the last missing piece from my wallet. The old photo of Rachel, and I stared back at me. Oh, now it makes sense. The old photo of Rachel and I stared back at me, reminding me better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? Yes. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I had got part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? Stolen identity. My television. I had purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. Felt pretty guilty about it afterward, but by then it was too late. Yeah, don't you hate that, you know? Spend a lot of money on something really awesome, like a house or something, and then you lose your job. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. Our hallway mirror had been smashed, its pieces shattered around the floor. My laptop had been left on and only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about the old water tower. There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. Did I take it? Yes. I pocketed the key. Our sink, which needed to be replaced. One of the taps always stuck, but I hadn't got around to fixing it yet. We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those wonderful old claw-footed bathtubs. Wonderful. Okay. Oh. Alright, so I went through those two doors. Oh, sorry about that. Books there were half mine, half Rachel's. Hey, now that I looked more closely, it looked like the man in that house had some of the same books as I did. There was a suitcase on the bed. It was Rachel's. I remembered it from that trip we took out west. I opened the suitcase. Yes. Wasn't sure what to make of the suitcase's contents. Inside were a few days' worth of clothes, some toiletries, and a train ticket. Checked the date and time and matched the receipt I found back in those horrible sewers. What was this? Rachel, who were you running away with? Norman. He was running away with Norman. You know what? I'm second guessing myself. Did I go in this door? I think I did. This got the computer, right? Yep, it does. Okay, so it was the floor downstairs that I hadn't visited yet. The door was stuck shut. There's an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. Is that not what I have right here? What was in here again? I forget. Yeah, the TV. Got it. Okay. I unlocked the basement door. Okay, so that key I got was for the basement then. In the box. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. Well, thanks for at least letting me know straight up. The garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. Did I take the key? Yes. Took the small key and tried to remember what it unlocked. Clearly the door at the second floor, probably. There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. I had put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished it yet, so the door was stuck, and the drywall was poorly installed. I might have been able to break through if I found something heavy enough. I know what you put there. You put a body up there. The grimy key I found in the basement unlocked the door. Looked like the room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? There was an old crowbar on the floor. Did I need to take the crowbar? Yes. Lifted the heavy crowbar. Appreciated its weight. Appreciate as in, oh my god, this is freaking heavy, please help me. Did I break through the wall with the crowbar? Yes. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a hole large enough to step through. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This is it. Was Rachel down here? Was she okay? What am I going to find? Don't look. A filthy-looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I had come this far. After all this searching, after all I had seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel? No. The rags were wet, matted, covered in dirt and grime, but inside that tattered mess was no sign of my beloved wife. Rachel wasn't there. I looked around in confusion, trying to figure out what to do next. If she wasn't there, where was she? What had I been searching for this entire time? I remember the look on Rachel's face when I came home, didn't I? Then the awful realization hit me right in the gut. I had been looking at this the wrong way, hadn't I? This is what you've been trying to tell me all along, isn't it? I couldn't find Rachel there. I won't find her anywhere else because she was never there at all, was she? I stumbled back upstairs, the pain in my legs just a dull ache now, and sat down in my bedroom. My mind was spinning, and the ache I felt before was near crippling. Finally, I could no longer fight the exhaustion as I tried to grab hold of something that would make sense of this. It must have drifted off. I guess these books were all actually mine then. It was my wallet, with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff or somebody else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again, or maybe somebody stole it from me. Norman's store, that forest, the water tower. Was I at those places before? Yes. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. What does that mean? It means you a murderer. It was the photo of the other man and his wife that I found in that house. Were those really his wife's remains in those tunnels? It certainly seemed so. What did I think? Did the other man murder his wife and bury her in those tunnels? Yes. Sick bastard must have. What else did that mean? There were some questionable things in those tunnels. What else was he wrapped up in? You're lying to yourself, dude, but, something faint shadow, something. I used to tell myself that Rachel was the one who wanted to keep the tub. It was a key card I found in the factory, the one that allowed me to slip through that door. It seemed to me that it was probably Norman's, but if that was true, what was he doing back at the plant? Did I think Norman was going back to the factory? Maybe. Must have been him. Must have been using the old locker room. Laptop had finally run out of power. My old office safe sat on the floor. It used a digital passcode lock. I tried to open it. Saved using 8-digit code. What was the damn code again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, that wasn't it. Damn it, I couldn't remember. I surmised that at least 2 of the names in that musty notebook had been recent victims. Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Cheryl, Iris, Daphne, Holly, Rose. Those poor girls that I found in that dead forest. Wonder what happened to the other names on that list. Or the ones scratched out on the desk of those wet tunnels. Wait, what was that other man up to? I bet you that list was a hint. I feel like it was a hint to how to open the safe. It was a letter I had taken from the postbox. It had gotten a bit wet in the rain. Somebody had obviously had it out for Norman. But who? Oh no, Norman. I was wrong about Rachel. What about him? Did I kill him? We'll say no. I couldn't have. I clearly wasn't seeing things correctly, but no. Never do something like that. That note wasn't from me. It probably was, buddy. I had that old TV for so long, I don't know if I could ever replace it. You guys know how I feel about this guy, but seemed like I had seen all there was. Maybe I thought I was ready to go back into the basement. Why would you do that to yourself? The pile of mail on the floor I now saw was addressed to me. Bills, credit, and offers, a letter from the bank. They were all addressed to me. That was it. With Rachel gone, I couldn't stand to be in that house a moment longer. Did I leave and say goodbye to that nightmare forever? No. I didn't deserve to go. Not just yet. Yeah, I gotta go to the basement first. Maybe there wouldn't be anything for me to find, but I had to take a last look. Wall was cracked and pitted. It was told by an inspector the basement had been partially filled in before bought the house. But by the look of that wall, I was going to need to fix the foundation. Everything smelled musty and old down there. There literally nothing I can do in the basement now? Because I did open that. Okay. How many breakfasts had I eaten here completely alone? Must have locked the door. There was no reason to return to the backyard anyway. Alright, so I guess I am leaving the house. It's not going to let me go through that crack in the wall. That was it. With Rachel gone, I couldn't stand to be in that house a moment longer. Did I leave and say goodbye to that nightmare forever? Yes. Since I had arrived in town, things have been difficult. Working in the plant, though, had been good for me. It kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. When the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking, disappearing for hours at a time. Drinking was probably a way to deal with that. It was almost as if I was trying to beat my brain in its own game. Things stopped making sense sometimes after that. My memories of what happened are still in a flux. I suppose that was when Rachel came along. This night had been the worst of my entire life. Would it even be possible to bounce back from everything that had happened, everything I'd seen? You know, in a way, I almost wish I hadn't even woken up that night. It would have spared me a lot of pain. That man I found in the old house had killed his wife, I was sure of it. Just sure as you killed mine. What? After making it out of those tunnels, I thought those sewers might feel safer. I was wrong. Security tape I had watched showed someone being attacked by what looked like two people. But who was it that was attacked? And what had I been doing at Norman's place, or even in that old forest? It didn't look good, that's for sure. Had I been responsible for what happened there? What did you think? Was I guilty, or was I just mad? Just for a second, though, think about something else. Think about those poor girls I had accidentally discovered in the old forest. The notebook I had found in those woods had names in it. Names I think I saw somewhere else before. It couldn't have been me behind that, could it? I would never do such a thing to such sweet, innocent people. It was clear, at least, that Norman had been going back to the old plant. Had he been the one to seal up that room? Was he drinking up there alone? Thought perhaps he had something to do with that dead guard. But now you've got me all mixed up. I'm not even sure what makes sense anymore. I had to catch my breath to take it all in. At each point until the factory, things had only gotten worse. But then, going to Norman's store, that's where the confusion and doubt started to set in. That's when my perspective on all this really started to change. Oh, Norman, I didn't know how you got mixed up in all this. Someone had killed you. My head was a mess. Everything ached and was foggy, so I didn't know if you deserved what you got in the end. We were friends once, weren't we? Did you know about all this? Did you know what Rachel was? But as painful as all that was, oh no, I couldn't bear to think about it again. After all I had seen and done, finally coming home was supposed to be the end to this entire ordeal. I had no idea, though, that it was only the beginning. The silence in the house when I had first stepped through the kitchen door, that should have been my first clue. To think that I went through all that, completely unaware of what I would discover. Did you know before the end? Did you mock me when you finally showed me the truth? You don't know what it's like to have everything ripped away from you in a heartbeat. How could I possibly go on now knowing what I do? Without Rachel, even the thought of Rachel, I was truly lost. As the door swung open, I could smell damp grass and the closeness of the air. After everything, it felt like I had more questions than answers. You made me see the truth. I'll give you that. Now I was completely lost. You took away the only thing that had kept me going. I was sure word would get out, and soon enough the police would come looking for me. And what then? Would you be there to show me the way? What will I do then? Hmm. Hmm. Well... that was interesting. Poem is dedicated to my wife, Nancy. Watch your back. The end. That was interesting. That was really interesting. Not sure what to think about that game in particular. But go check it out. See what type of story you can come up with. See what ending you get. Let me know. That that one was pretty good. We're gonna have to play another one though. It's gonna be it for home. So I'm gonna go ahead and get something else started up here, and I will be back shortly. And for my video watchers, thanks for stopping by. Bye bye.